All right, everyone. I figured we would just dive into the thorax now. Fair warning, I hate the thorax. It's kind of a nightmare between different groups of insects. There's a lot of different names used. There's a lot of very specific parts that are useful when you're trying to identify stuff, and so there's a lot of vocabulary associated with it. Um, so it is kind of a nightmare to learn. It's a nightmare to review. We'll just kind of muddle through this. I have pictures. I did some drawings. Hopefully things kind of make sense. But if you're interested in learning about like a specific group of insects, it's best to look at the specific layout of that group's thorax and all the plate names that are used, the sclerite names that are used, because what we're going to be going over today is just the generalized form across most insects. Unfortunately, once you actually start getting into specific insects, the lines aren't as straight and the plates aren't in the exact same spot. And, things are slightly different with every group that you look at. So, don't take it too seriously if you are looking at this like, well, when I look at my, caterpillar, it doesn't look like this. No, it doesn't look like this. It looks, honestly, with caterpillars, much simpler. But when you're like, well, my beetle looks different. Well, beetles are dorsoventrally flattened usually, so things look weird. My wasp doesn't look like this. Wasps have a lot more plates, and they have a much more rigid, built-up thorax. So there's a lot of different parts that you won't find in like a grasshopper thorax. So don't get too bent out of shape. Just keep going with it. If you're interested in one specific group only, then learn that specific group, and you'll have a much better time in the future. So how we're going to start this is by looking at the mesothorax, the middle segment of the thorax, and we'll start with the pleural view, the side view, the lateral view, and we'll label the top, the dorsal and the sternal side as well, or sternal or the ventral and dorsal sides as well, and then we'll switch to what a ventral view looks like and what a ventral view looks like and what a dorsal view looks like. But honestly, starting with this view, the pleuron, the side view, is by far the most complicated. This is where you get the most names of different parts. But let's just dive in. So the dorsum is up here. So this is the top. This is the back. Dorsal, down here is the ventral. So just to get your bearings here, this will be the anterior, so towards the head, and this is the posterior, towards the tail. And this big hole, this is the coxal cavity. This is where the leg attaches. And up here, this process here is the pleural wing process. So this is the wing. Let me draw a line out here. This is the wing process. This is where the wing attaches. All this pink area here represents membranous area. So pink equals membrane. And then these are interior. These are the phragmata. So this is a phragma. And this is on the interior. So if you're wondering, why can't I see this? It's because it's inside the body. These phragma are where the wing muscles attach in order to pump the wings to fly. But all this pink is this pink is membrane. It's not frequently easy to see. In some species, you'll think there's no visible membrane here. What are you talking about? So if you look at this fly here, you can see all of the sclerites well developed. This area here, while there are sclerites in here, there's a bunch of exposed membrane, and that membrane has to be there so that the wings can actually move. Otherwise, the wings would be rigidly fixed in place. If you look at like a grasshopper, you can't see where the wings attach. The wings attach up here because it's covered by the pronotum here. So this is the pronotum. And you can't really see that attachment. If you were to peel off the pronotum and look at the wing attachments at the base of the wings, you would see quite a bit of membrane. So that's what you're seeing here in the pink. And then like this pink here, this is all interior membrane. Like if you pulled apart the actual thorax, that's what you would see there. So below the wing here on the lateral surface, this is there are two plates. Sometimes they're split more, but basilar and the subalar. This is the subalar, and these plates, these sclerites, support the wings. Down here, so this is this suture here. This is called the pleural suture, and it divides the pleuron, the side, into two plates. So this plate here is called the episternum. And epi means above. Sternum is the plate down here. So this is the sternal plate. This is the sternum, and then this is the epimeron. And you might think, what the hell is a meron? A meron is, if the coxa was here, it would be this surface of the coxa. That's what the meron is. So it's above the meron. Okay, this is the postcoxal bridge, because it comes after the coxa. And this is the precoxal bridge. Easy peasy. This thing here is called the trochanter. And it supports the coxal membrane. So again, this is more membrane in here. Down here, so this is the sternal surface down here. This is the sternum. And that can be divided into 3 or 4 spots. So this is the presternum. This little ridge here is the presternum. So the episternum is above the sternum. This is the basisternum. This is the sternellum. And we'll look at this closer later. And this is the either spinosternum or poststernum. Let me move this over. Okay, and then up on top here, this dorsal surface, this is the notum on top here. And the notum is, again, multiple plates fused together. Generally speaking, you'll see a scutum and a triangular scutellum. On things like stink bugs and the hemipterans, the scutellum is usually very large. This area here is called the postnotum. And this area here is called the prenotum. These red lines that I have put in here, these are the anticostal sutures. And the anticostal sutures are associated with the phragma. This is where the actual phragma gets invaginated in. The prescutum, not prenotum, this should be prescutum. The prescutum, the scutum, and the scutellum. This whole thing here is sometimes called the allenotum. And then it's contrasted with the postnotum. So those, it's a lot, I know. That's the basic pleural view of the notum. So if we go to what the notum itself looks like, just from the top. So again, these red lines are the anticostal sutures. This is the top view, dorsal view. Associated with the phragma. This is where the wing attaches. This is where the other wing attaches. Pink is the membrane again. This is the prescutum. This is the scutum. This is the scutellum. Kind of triangular shaped, huge in stink bugs. and this is the postnotum. This little area here. Easy enough. Okay. And then if we go to the sternal view, this is the ventral view. To get your bearings, these are coxa. This is the femur. So this is the leg again. This is the trochanter. This is the top portion of the sternum is usually called the basosternum. And below that is called the sternellum. So the basosternum and the sternellum are divided by the sternocostal suture. This is the metasternum down here. And you'll see that it actually overlaps upward, which is kind of weird. This is the prosternum here from the first segment. This area here isn't always there, but it's the presternum when it is there. And then sometimes there is an area called the spinosternum that would be like right here, but it's not always there. So these are all the portions of the sternum of the thorax. The next segment that we will cover will be the wings, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.